Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We do apologize for the delay, but we are back with the semis of the day as Boom takes on Ion. Nada, tell us a little bit about these two teams, how they got here.
All right, well, Ion and Boom, we have Boom, obviously. We've seen Boom just tear apart each qualifier, and now they've been tearing through both HVT, Hot Voltar Train. They've been tearing through Notaria's Knots, and now we're looking to see if they can tear through Ion. Ion, on the other hand, has been dealing with last moment boss and are now looking to face off fighting Boom.
Okay, let's go straight with the picks and bans and get on with game one.
Alright, so Boom resides with the first pick, and that's allowing them to ban first as well, and that ban will be Penny Fox. So no Penny. The response is banning Scoop. So no Paolo Scoop, no Roshirobe Scoop, and also no Penny. Good bans. So, first pick will be Swiggins on Boom's side. Response to that is Coco and Froggy G. Super powerful picks. We've been over this before this qualifier, or this finals, I should say. We've been over this today. Powerful, they have great synergy, but burst stacking as well as CC plus the NATO does a great amount of damage as well as secure those kills. Now, response to that will be Nibs and Vinny, so having that high burst constrainment, silence, and of course the Nibs barbecuing that is going to just end anything in range. Last pick for Anne will be Ted McPain, so extra push onto that comp, so for after burst you just tear down the turrets. Map is Agion. Without further ado, I think we should get right to it.
Let's go. So we're seeing a Frog Ted Coco versus Vinny Swiggins Nibs.
Alright, you got it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So, Nada, we've seen the Silence Cloud come into play on almost every single time we've seen a Vinny in here. How do you think it's going to play into effect against Ion?
Well, it really comes down to when the Silence Cloud is deployed. It has to do with how you initiate and how you really just how you get the plays down, because Silence Cloud is deadly no matter the team. And especially versus this comp, we're looking at the Froggy G that's going to be hit the hardest, as he can do nothing when he's not close to his targets. Ted and Coco can shoot their balls and their airstrikes inside the Silence Cloud and therefore do damage, but Frog is really hitting hard.
As compared to the airstrikes, as you said before, if an ability is used before they enter the Silence Cloud, they can continue to use that ability.
Mm-hmm. And that is going to play a huge effect in who actually gets the upper hand in the team fights.
As we see both teams on the bottom lane, Blah getting hit with an airstrike, he's going to be forced to retreat back, pick up some health. Boom, Hui and Paolo both into the lane change as Robbie is looking to pick up a kill off of the bouncer.
Alright, bounce kills are going to mean a lot.
Invis will go to Machno.
Mm-hmm. Bounce kills I actually think is going to mean a lot, because when you are fighting a combo like Booms, you really want to make sure you get those kills when one target is separated, and that is most likely to happen when they are taking the bouncer.
Exactly. If you can catch them off guard off the bouncer, it's basically going to be a free kill. Now we see those airstrikes going off, trying to deal some extra damage in there. Now my question to you is, when Ted's using his airstrikes, there's a few different reasons to use Ted's airstrike, and in this situation, Dob is using it as a way to close down a lane for a second, as opposed to go in for kills with it. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, how will that play into effect if he gets caught off on his cooldowns?
Well, Ted is a sitting duck without his cooldowns, if you ask me. If you don't have the stun on airstrike, you don't have your airstrike to sort of you don't have your stun on Stimpack, sorry, you don't have your airstrike, you have no zoning, and you rely on timing your shotgun shots or your shells. But if they attack in sort of a little delayed formation, that's only going to do well against one target, and you're really going to be a sitting duck. That's where I'm getting at. You really have to make sure your cooldown is on point, and you have to make really make good use of the timing.
And I guess that goes hand in hand with baiting in your cooldowns, you know, baiting opponents' cooldowns, and then counter-attacking when their cooldowns are off.
Exactly.
Alright, so we kind of see both of these teams just kind of testing the waters. Blah utilizing the teleport to get out of danger once he uses his fire, and Paulo and Hui in the middle of a switch again. And it seems that Ion has kind of taken control of that top and mid section, picking up 2 invises so far.
Yeah, invis control is something we touch upon a lot, and it really just depends on, you know, your timing, you know, your map, you know where the enemy team is, and if they are going to be going for that invis orb as well. And of course, distributing it so that the right players get the orb at the right times.
And we're going to see Machno get stuck and anchored down from Swiggins as Paulo looks to try and set something up for his team. He's going to drop that Silence Cloud, clear up any of the droids down low, as we see Hui proceed, and Robbie in a good position to get some damage, gets that quick dash in, and goes up the bouncer, not allowing any return. And some more damage being dealt to Dov in the bot, as we see Paulo and Hui in the top lane, along with Robbie and the entirety of Team Ion, getting ready to actually proceed to do some turret damage in the top. But it is not going to be allowed as Paulo drops his Silence Cloud, and both teams go back to clearing.
All right. It is actually quite impressive. We're almost 5 minutes in and no kills have been had, although we are looking at quite the turret poke on Boom's top turret.
As we see Paulo defending his top lane once more. Robbie with Invis trying to set something up for his team. Let's see if he's going to be able to catch somebody off the bouncer. And Paulo launching that ball, not hit. Machno launching the ball, not hitting Paulo in the process, and no damage will be dealt to any characters.
I'm kind of wondering what the Nibs is going for. We've seen Nibs all go for Eternal Flame on base pickup almost, except for the Prosthetic Dragon Wing. And I'm kind of wondering if we will be seeing a full damage Nibs today.
And all 3 members of Team Ion basically establishing themselves once more in the top jungle, waiting to snap onto the first person that comes into their den. And unfortunately, it's not going to be anybody, as Hui picks up the Invis, locks down Robbie. Robbie's taking a lot of damage, and Dov looking to land that airstrike in mid, and Blah will pick up the first kill with the DOT as Robbie goes down to Blah 5 minutes and 45 seconds in.
All right, that's the first kill, and that's quite late actually. And we're seeing 2 piggies come out of Ion.
As Hui gets hit with the airstrike along with Paulo. Dov defending that bot lane, and Blah has a lot of damage taken on him. He's going to be forced to go back. As Dov is once more in there, trying to clear up those lanes very quickly.
Right, so it's very, how to put this, the sort of plays that are made are very very calculated, and as such not much is actually going on. You know, everyone is going back and forth and never actually go out of position or, you know, do foul plays, which leaves the game in a rather uneventful state because everyone is doing what they're supposed to do.
And when people do what they're not supposed to do, that's when things really start to pick up. You can catch someone off guard. You can really kind of position yourself in a way to make them pay for what they've done. You can look down upon them with that terrible dad stare or mom stare and really just instill fear into the hearts of them as Machno picks up Blah in the process, and Paulo picks up Machno as well. Paulo's going to have to escape, narrowly avoiding Robbie, and Paulo picking up the health. He will barely escape. As we see Robbie duking it out with Hui now. Hui's taking a lot of damage, but Robbie is basically shut down, running away with 1 bar of HP.
He is. But, you know, the whole response that comes out of Boom is pretty impressive. They have such a hefty comp that will just go right back in. Think of it this way. As soon as Frog is done dashing, he's a sitting duck, and that's where Boom will strike.
Well, both of these teams basically will make you pay for any mistakes. You know, Ion being, as we said before, a little bit more patient, and Boom being more aggressive. So I think Ion will be able to kind of counteract Boom's aggressive playstyle by being patient and really waiting out any damage and mitigating that.
Well, it's all about it, because patient play also is punishing in the way that you don't get map control and you do not get as much push.
And we see the battle down below. Dov retreating back once more. Machno in the top lane, clearing that up as Robbie is trying to set something up for his team, dashing in and out, being the nimble frog that he is.
Oh, wow. Frog has to watch out, though. I mean, Nibs just absolutely decimates. Especially DOT is something that is very efficient versus Frog, because the dash and the invincibility there only cancels out one tick of everything. And if we know DOT is multiple ticks of damage, thus leaving most of it to still do damage.
Well, I mean, DOT is always great, but, you know, there's one ability to counter it, and Robbie is not going to be able to have that ability because he's dead. So Robbie goes down to Blah in the process. The teleport in as Hui sets that anchor kill up, and it seems as if Paolo will be hunting down Dov, as Dov will be able to escape.
Well, I think you're thinking of Regen, and I think that you think that I think that it's a good idea. Because
Well,
it is.
I think that you think that I know, that you know, that it was a good idea.
Oh,
but
yes.
unfortunately, he won't be able to pick it up since he is dead. He should probably pick it up at some point, though.
No, Regen is kind of heavy to pick up. I mean, you really have to... It's a lot for a little frog.
It's a lot for a little frog, but it makes a huge difference for you to be
It
able
does.
to stay in the fight.
It
And
does.
Hui's going to get caught off the bouncer, and there we see the bouncer kill, catching your opponent off guard, but a one-for-one exchange as Machno picks up Blah, and Hui picks up Dov. As we
Alright,
see
so
both
we
of
should be...
these teams proceed into the top and really try and establish themselves a decent push.
We should be seeing them just roll with it right now.
And Robbie's going to be
Oh.
hunted down. He escapes with
Paolo,
a quarter of a
almost.
bar of health as Paolo is a little
But
bit
he's ready for the
annoyed.
push, though, isn't he? No, nope. He's not going for it.
Well, a push, Vinny, really isn't that powerful early game, so I don't believe he'll be able to push that far. And even if he does, what's 9 damage, or excuse me, 90 now? What's 90 damage going to do against that turret? Of course it is permanent damage, but it's just not going to be enough.
Nope. Well, enough 90 damage will eventually do enough, but, you know, it's all about stacking it up.
They seem to be doing just that as Blah is going to use his invis, and Dom gets caught out there trying to use a sneaky duck strat. Blah is not having it. He knows exactly where he is and uses his fire and pushes him out of the creep section.
Alright, the fire, the duck, the everything. Well, that is a dangerous play.
As Machno is now going to be on the defensive as Hui is going in for the kill, but Blah will pick up the DOT kill, and Dov trying to rotate around and save him, but unfortunately will not.
I actually think that that Vinny is going to pick up Silence Cloud next. Paolo needs that for his team, because soon Ion will be able to just roll in with that damage. You can see Frog just saving up some cash for that extra next damage, even though he is kind of running low because he's been dying a lot.
And we see Dov in some trouble. Hui just missing his anchor, and Robbie will go in to try and pick up a kill, but the dash from Paolo is still up, and he will just match it on Machno, but not the target he expected. He expected Robbie to be running away, will not pick up the kill.
So looking at the builds here, Nibs going for that stun on AA if there's no charges in their frenzy meter. Very powerful upgrade, great for shutting down, and you know, at close range you stunned, you have to re-accelerate all the way back up. That's actually something that most people don't really know play into effect, that each knot has a different set of acceleration that is going to allow them to get their maximum speed at a different rate. And when you deny slower characters that, they also have a lower acceleration, which is going to keep them in your fire for longer. So great uplift. That's the Chillus Wax Candle. Extremely
and
good
remember
upgrade.
the jump. Remember the jump, because you can't jump as high.
That's right. That's the slow, though.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. But it looks like Robbie is going to get picked up, and Paolo will get picked up in the process. But
Oh.
Dom is going to get sniped out by Hui from the top with his Home Depot anchors, as we call them.
Home Depot anchors. That one is new to me. Please do elaborate.
Oh, when you just go from top to bottom really quickly, like you snipe him from a lane across. Blah dealing some damage on Machno in the bottom lane. Hui is going to be lurking for his, his anchor once more. Not going to be able to pick anything up with that, though, as Machno being very careful, I would say, in his lane switch, trying to grab some health. As we see Robbie clear up that top lane. Excuse me, continue.
No. He is clearing the lane. He is going back, Machno. He's afraid that things are up there. He doesn't want to have part of it. Building that blaze ball up to do damage and all aspects of it. Because, you know, you don't want to build A versus this team. Machno knows that.
And it looks like Paolo's going to be on the run as he's going to escape with very little health. And Dom should just worry about destroying that anchor, increasing Hui's cooldown by a second or two. But he will recall it and not allow that. And Paolo will be back to grab some HP, but Hui's going to be in a bad spot. And it looks like Machno is going to be in a bad spot as well. Hui's going to be continued to be hunted by Dom and Robbie. He will escape. Paolo looking in the top lane, trying to set something up. And we go back to the clears as Paolo will be clearing up top. And it looks like Hui is waiting on bottom to pounce on the frog. And Robbie being very smart with his decision to dash the other way into Hui as opposed to away from him, nullifying the anchor. As we see Paolo now back into that midsection, Dov up top with Machno trying to defend against that which is Boom. And it looks like Robbie will be going down as he's caught up the bouncer once again, and Machno is going to have to be on the run as Blah just misses the teleport, not allowing or securing a kill for him.
Yeah, that's dangerous with the nibs and the no-clip fire just going through terrain. Many people are fooled that they are safe behind the turrets. That is not the case as we're seeing right now.
As Blah goes straight in trying to deal some damage. He's going to have to escape, but Machno getting the ball, picking up Blah on his escape. He got a little too far ahead of himself and was dealt a lot of damage by that turret and picked up in the end. As we see Dov with very little health going to escape, and Robbie missing his dash on Paolo. Paolo is going to go back to clearing. He will clear up that bottom, and we see him picking up the solar. He had the solar regen cloud, so his passive solar gain is going to be very strong.
And it's going to help a lot, especially versus that DOT from Coco. Machno building a very DOT-focused build, providing for that blaze, and the regen is really going to just make sure that it stays in a controllable state, because Coco's blaze can get quite out of hand.
And Blah, again, utilizing that fire, he launches his teleport orb right before he goes down mid-shoot, and he deals a lot of damage with his fire and just teleports right out, and he's already up into the top lane. Paolo has a lot of damage dealt on him, and Robbie is going to be taken down by the turret assist going to Hui and Paolo. As we see both Hui and Paolo go back to clearing these top lanes, and Blah, actually, with Paolo on the bottom lane, they will take that bottom turret, a split push in favor of Team Boom, and it looks like they will be taking advantage of that as bars are being shaved off of those turrets.
Ion is getting a clean shave, and I think Boom is enjoying that.
And we go back to this clearing phase. Now that that bottom turret has been taken and the top turret only has 2.5 bars left, it's going to be very difficult for Team Ion to defend against this.
And that's exactly what this very patient waiting play style. It really doesn't pay off if you don't get those collapses in, because that leaves you stuck at your turrets without lots of solar, and you're gonna have a hard time actually pushing back, because you're going to be in a place where you cannot you cannot spring back from the wall and go all in, because you don't have the tools necessary to do that.
And as you said, you're not going to be able to pick up and farm solar as well as the other team. They have you pushed against your turret. You're not going to be able to pick up those solar drops in front of your turret without getting punished for it. And we see amp damage coming out for Swiggins. The milk carton of Vinian skimmed milk which will amp them by 20%.
Yeah, 10 per stage is really good upgrade, especially with nibs, as every tick will be amplified, and that is a lot of damage. Add that in with the additional Starstorm statue, currently at 5%. It is going to be a crazy amount of actual damage amplification that is going to go on here, and that'll also help the Vinny and his burst go all the way up. If he gets the... He does have range, but he could have gotten that that Seahorse head and stacked up almost a Clunk, Explode, and Bite in damage.
And it is a lot of damage, as you said, but I think that Blah has kind of established themselves, and they're not going to be able to deal that damage as Magno gets picked up in the process, and Robbie goes down in the process, trying to counter-engage against Blah, but Hui and Paolo right there to prevent any damage being dealt.
And that damage prevention, you know, the whole presence of your team is so important. You don't flee towards your turret, you flee towards your teammates, you don't panic when you're low, you make sure that you protect your low, you body block, you use your innate sort of CC that everyone has, the body blocking skills, your hitbox is your best friend, all these things that seem small on their own, they really just come together in these matches.
And as you said, you know, using body blocking as a CC method is a very powerful thing. Everybody has it, but knowing how to do it effectively is where a lot of people may lack.
That is a gift for the few.
It's a gift to everybody, but a certain gift for the few.
Everyone has it, but you have to search deep without you in yourself. Going all C-Pang announcer on that. So
body block you must.
Yes, exactly.
In the words of my mentor, Yoda.
Yes.
As we see Hui, Paolo, and Blah proceeding to the bottom lane, trying to deal some turret damage. They are going to chip away a few bars of these turrets before they're forced to escape. And Dov, trying to switch in lanes, is going to get picked up in the process. Hui tying them down with those anchors.
You know... Oh. That is a dangerous position for Frog.
It's a very dangerous position for the Frog, and he is going to pay for it.
That is a wipe. You know, I think if Yoda had one advice for Ion, it would be, start farming, you must. Start farming, you must, and fight back in those situations where they're proceeding into the turrets. But they're actually going to take down these bottom turret and proceed to go for the core. They're going to be dealing some core damage. This is actually going to be quite a bit before any members of Team Ion could get... It's going to be close. Is back. Oh my...
And Dov is back. He's the only one back, but all three members of Team Boom are very weak, so I don't think they're going to be engaging very much. As you can see, Dov is maybe going down to the DOT. He just gets into his base before he dies. Yeah, this is relying on one push. If they can shut down that one push, they have a chance, but Ion, they're really, really not very well set right now. As we see Dov going and clearing up, I believe he has the airstrike through levels. He does. He has the phone number, which will allow him to shoot his airstrike through all levels of the map, which means he can stay in the top lane and have his airstrike at the bottom lane. And that's good. That really allows Ted to move out and still be efficient. But still, that is not going to help them very much because their base is looking absolutely horrible at only 3 bars. Looking pretty bad, and Dov may be taken out by that anchor as the anchor does hold him down. Blah picking up the DOT kill. This is the time when Team Boom needs to forget about the other members on map, but they are going in for Machno, and Machno gets picked up by Blah. This is when they need to go in and do some core damage. They really need to focus on ending this game so that they can push on to Game 2, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing as Robbie tries to go in and gets completely shut down by Paolo and Hui, and that ends Game 1 as Boom takes victory over Ion for Game 1. Nada, what could have went differently? Well, it all comes down to, I think, Oshtirobe being a bit too aggressive on his Frog side, ending up dying a little too much, and I think that ended up having, you know, a double-edged sword where the sword sort of splits up and hits him in the head and then, you know, grants a gift to Boss or Boom. That's Boom. That's Boom. I always mix those. But yes, the Frog being in lots of bad situations allowed the Snowball to really just go up, allow Boom to really just excel, and that
that simultaneous loss of soul or sort of left Frog to not be able to do that extra damage. So having Frog play safer in the earlier stages and then turn up the aggression rather than play aggressive in the early stages and then turn on defensive, I think that could have been a sort of switch that could have been made.
I agree with you. That being said, we're going to be doing another Robo Scoop giveaway before we go into Game 2. Keep an eye out on the Twitch chat, as a Twitch mod will be giving away instructions to win yourself a Robo Scoop. We will take a break and we will be back with Game 2 of Boom versus Ion.